50. This is Lauren Kimball, and I've decided to go ahead and record a quick tutorial to show you how to build a custom alpha brush. So I'm going to just open up Safari, and I went ahead and Googled bolt heads, and this one's pretty cool because it's practically like a texture in of itself, like it's pretty much ready to go. I'm going to copy this image, create new, and one of the things to know about these custom brushes is the resolution is important as far as is how clean the alpha brush is going to be. So I'm going to go 500 pixels by 500 pixels and maybe do like say 300 resolution. Create. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and paste this screw head on to my layer, and I'm just going to use it as a reference. First I'm going to do is go in and use my circle ellipse tool to create a circle. If I hold down shift, it constrains it. And I'm going to fill it in white. Oops, I gotta create a new layer first. So I'll call this my bolt. I'll fill it in white. That didn't really come out great. Let me go ahead and grab that marquee tool and do that again. Again, holding down the shift while drawing that is going to allow it to be a perfect circle. Press G. There we go. If I press D, that'll deselect. I'm going to create one more layer underneath that, and this layer is just going to be called black. And I'm going to go ahead and fill it in with black, which I just pressed G over here. If you, I pressed X over here so that it changes my foreground and background color. Alright, I'm going to turn these off for just a second. Over here, I'm going to grab a hold of my rectangle tool and just kind of draw out the crisscross here. Up here in the marquees tool options, typically it's set to single marquee, so if I draw another marquee, it makes the other one disappear. But if you click the button next to it, you can draw multiple marquees, and they intersect. And if they intersect, then they will become one marquee. Okay, there's my bolt. I'm going to create one more layer for that indentation. So I'll just call it indentation because I can't think of anything better to call it. The depth of how deep that indentation goes is going to be determined by black and white. So we talked about, or maybe you noticed, we didn't really talk about it in a tutorial, we probably talked about it in class, that ZBrush uses alpha channels, so black and white maps, to determine some of its custom brushes. You can apply an alpha channel to a brush and it will take on the shape. So how deep this intersection goes into the screw depends on what color I use. If I use black, then that middle portion, let's go ahead and just press OK, is going to be go as deep as the outside of the map. If I choose something like a little bit gray, it's going to be slightly higher than the outside. So just, it could be useful. The other thing I'm going to do here is if I go ahead and export it as is, it's not going to have a nice rounded shape. It's just going to be like a cookie cutter of a circle and a cross. So first I'm going to move this indentation just a little using my keyboard so it's centered a little better. Next I'm going to grab the bolt layer. I'm going to use my magic wand tool and select the outside of it. I'm then going to press down here on the, oops, sorry, wrong side, Control I. I want to make sure that I'm just going to deselect because that might be a tricky hotkey. I'm just going to click on the white area, okay? Remember, if you need to let go, just press Control D, which deselects. So I'm going to grab that middle circle area, and I'm going to go over here and click this button that looks like a circle in a box. If I click that, I create a mask. So essentially, what has been created is everything that is inside the white area is visible, and everything that's in the black area is invisible. And so as long as this mask is on, I can draw all over this, and it's it's not going to show up in this area. Now, why did I add a mask? Well, inside the layer properties over here, so you just click on properties, one of the options is called feathering. If I turn on feathering, it adds a really nice clean gradient to the selection. A gradient is really helpful. I'm going to just enter in 40. A uniform gradient is excellent because it's going to cause the alpha to sort of have a sort of a convex, round dithering as it's really hard to explain. Let me just go ahead and show you. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as a JPEG. So I'm just going to call it screw top. Save. Okay. And I'm going to go open up ZBrush. Alright, inside ZBrush, I'm going to click on the light box, and I'm going to go over to Tool, and I'm going to click on Thick Plane. Just double click it until it shows up in the little tool menu. And then to close the light box, you just go over here and click Hide. Alright, so just like we did with the crate, go ahead and draw in that plane, and then you can press T for Edit, and now it's a 3D object that we can manipulate. Gonna make sure Make Polygon 3D is turned on and activated. I'm gonna go into the geometry, well, not geometry HD, geometry down here, over here. And I'm gonna click on Divide. This is gonna up the resolution. Now it's about 38,000 faces. I could probably go further, but this will work for now. If you head over here, make sure brush is set as your default, so standard brush. For stroke, change it to drag rectangle. And for alpha, we're going to go down here and press import. And we're going to look for screw top. So I got some other iterations on my desktop, but this is the one we just made. Press open. And now I can go up here. I'm going to click on draw size and kind of up my brush size. I've got Z-add activated so that it's going to extrude from the mesh. And there we have the screw. Just going to let go. I'm going to press undo and divide my mesh one more time. Now it's 154,000 faces. And that's going to help with the resolution of this. So as you can see, it's kind of moving on a gradient. It's rounded, and the reason it's rounded is because of that gradient I applied inside of Photoshop. So that's all there is to it. You can create a custom map like this and add it to your crate. You can have little screws in your high poly mesh and bake it into your normal map, which could be really cool. So you can also find custom alpha channels for ZBrush available online. And yeah, hopefully this gives you something to work with.